right, guys, this is Crazy Kev here, and I'm here with my man, Evan Elder. Evan, how we doing, my man?
I'm doing great, bro. Good to be on here with you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, man, no problem at all. And Evan, you're coming off a big win. I mean, talk to us a little bit more about that performance and what's maybe next for you.
Yeah, last fight was Gage Young, April 26th, something like that. But we're about a month and a half, month or so removed. So um it's been good, man. I'm feeling good. Training's back to normal and happy with the performance. I'm never satisfied. I never watch any of my fights and I'm like, oh man, that was great. I was just but I think that's just a the critic that we need to be on ourselves, in order to keep improving and evolving. So yeah, happy to get the win and be healthy and get back to work and excited for whatever's next. I don't have anything confirmed and on the books or nothing, but hoping they give me something like August or September.
Yeah, no, August or September would definitely be a cool fight day for you as well in the future. Now, obviously, this was one of your first fights in front of a crowd with the UFC. I mean, talk to us a little bit more about that experience. What was that kind of like?
Yeah, my first three fights for the UFC were all at the Apex, and then I took a short notice fight against Darius Flowers at in Denver, and that was my first like arena card. And dude, it's so much better fighting in front of a crowd. And so this was my second fight in front of a crowd, and it was close enough to home to where I had quite a bit of people there to support me. So I ended up fighting Gage Young, and he ended up being like the I was kind of like the hometown guy at first because I was like 4 hours away from where I was from, but then I fought him right where he was from. So I ended up being almost the away guy, but it was still sick, man. It was super sick getting to fight in front of a packed arena and stuff. So I think that energy is unmatched. It's so much better than just the Apex or anything else. I'm excited to. I really hope that they keep up with these. They've been doing a lot of fight nights that are not at the Apex, which is it seems like they're kind of getting back to that, doing more arenas, more venues and stuff. So I hope they stay on that and I can fight in arenas from here on out because I would much rather do that.
Yeah, no, I definitely think arenas would be pretty cool for you as well. And you're mentioning these fight nights are kind of going to these arenas. I mean, would you kind of be interested in going to like China in August as well, or like Shanghai, I should say?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I'd have to, get that all lined up with my, my corners and make sure everybody can go, stuff like that. I think that's one of the hardest things with fighting overseas and stuff is like making sure the people you can go, that you work with, that you train with, my coaches, my corners, and teammate, whatever, can make the travel with me, so I'm not just like going over there by myself. But yeah, dude, I love travel and I love exploring the world. I can't wait to get to travel and explore more. So I would take any opportunity I can to go, fight overseas or get to travel and train and fight. So I would be super cool with China.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that would be a pretty cool location for you as well. Now, getting into that Gage Young fight, obviously you were training with him for a little bit. Was there anything in the cage that you might have recognized from training that you might have saw in the cage, even though it was a little bit since you guys were in there?
No, not really. Me. It's not like me and Gage were like longtime training partners or anything. I had just been out to Glory, a couple different several week stints. I would go out there for a couple weeks, maybe even a month max at a time, and so it's not like I got to really know his fighting style very well or anything like that. We just got to cross paths, a little bit in the gym, and but. Yeah, I wouldn't say there was anything that was like, oh, I've seen you do this before in training or something like that. It's not any more than everybody else. I've seen you throw a jab. I've seen you throw a cross. It's nothing in particular. But yeah, I think that we had both, it's been a while since we trained and we both evolved so much. I didn't even expect, I think it would be foolish of me to have expected to like, see things that I was see the version of him that I've trained with before because it's been years and I know with how hard he works and same with me, all of us at a high level, we're going to be changing and evolving and improving so much that it's not a good idea to base predictions on looks from a couple of years ago.
Right. Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense when it comes to your reads and stuff like that going into your fight. Now, you mentioned, Gage was pretty composed going into this fight with you. Now, you also mentioned that he was also talking to you as well, too. Like he heard your coaches and he was kind of like mimicking them as well, too. What was that kind of like hearing him do that and then also being so composed in there with you?
I was super impressed with how composed he was. I know what it's like, UFC debut and short notice. and it's really easy for you to get caught off guard. And I was super impressed with how present he was. You know, he didn't let him get lost under the lights or in the big crowd, or in just under the banner of the UFC or anything like that. So super impressed with his composure, super impressed with his toughness. And yeah, there was one point where my corners kept screaming at me like, keep kicking his leg, like stay. They wanted me to just keep chopping the leg. And he put it, his leg was right there, and he looked down at it. He was like, kick me, like, and it made me laugh. I was like, I just thought it was funny. You know, he was super present, and obviously hearing what my corners were telling him. And that's actually part of the reason why I could tell that he was super tuned in. And I was like, I heard them telling me to kick the leg, and I knew he was hearing it too, you know? So, you know, if you're in a fight and you're hearing that stuff, you know, you're kind of preparing your counter for that, you know, for that low kick or whatever it may be. So I was a little worried about trying to let a leg kick rip and him being ready for the counter. So I wasn't doing it right away.
Yeah, yeah, no, that definitely makes sense, and it's definitely pretty awesome to see that he was so composed going into that fight. Now, another thing I was curious about as well too, you know, obviously, you know, you were originally booked to face Ahmad, and then all that different stuff happened with him getting arrested and everything. I mean, what was your kind of reaction to hearing all the different news?
I haven't heard anything else since it originally surfaced, but I said this, you know, in the post fight press conference, that I was like, yeah, I don't really want to speak out on it too much, you know, 'cause I don't know the guy's business. I don't know, you know, it's I hope it's not true, you know, because that's pretty shitty. Um, but yeah, at first, you know, whenever my manager told me, he was like, "Hey, man, bad news. Hassan Zada's out of the fight," and we were only like a little over a week out, you know, like a week and a half out. And I was like, "Oh, dude, no way, man! Like, I doubt they're gonna get it's. I mean, the biggest thing is like it's so hard to make weight on such short notice, you know. So I'm like, dude, they're probably not gonna be able to find another 55er that's gonna be able to make weight, you know, a week notice. So I was really concerned that the fight was gonna get canceled. That was my immediate reaction, was like, damn, I think my fight might have just fell through. But you know, then, you know, when my manager told me that, he didn't say what had happened. He just said that Hassan Zada was out. So I figured that um damn, I think I just heard a knock at the door. I bet USADA's here, or not USADA, but the drug testing company. Um, but I'll see if they knock again, see who it was. But my bad. Um, uh, yeah, I figured that he got hurt or something. You know, most of the time it's so hard to stay healthy and get all the way to the fight camp. So through fight camp, so I figured that it was just that he freaking hurt his knee or something. And then all the news, I started getting tagged on all kinds of social media posts and stuff of like what had happened, and I was like, oh god, like that's not you know, everybody kept saying they should have just let him fight Evan Elder for his punishment.
Yeah, like I said, that definitely would have been pretty bad if he would have fought you. But yeah, no, like I said, that's definitely unfortunate with everything with that. Now, another thing I was curious about, you know, obviously you're also booked against MarQue Mederos, and then he also had a pretty solid win at UFC 316. Could that be a matchup you would maybe want to run back?
Yeah, dude. Actually, I thought about that. I was really impressed with the way MarQue looked. His last fight, I thought he looked really good. I don't remember who it was that he fought. Was he a debuter?
Yes,
Um,
yes, he would.
okay. I mean, the dude that he fought looked like he had really solid grappling. You could tell that he was, you know, some sort of high level grappler. Had MarQue's back once or twice in the fight, and but yeah, man, I was really impressed with MarQue, especially his striking, and I think that would be a really fun fight. I think that'd be a good fight for the fans. And now I think he might be on a 2 or 3 fight win streak, you know, so we're both kind of like right there on the same type of win streak, and I think that's a real possible matchup in the near future. So definitely paying attention to that.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that would be a fun one to get rebooked for sure, man. And now another thing I was curious about. I mean, what's kind of your goals right now with MMA? I mean, talk to us a little bit more about that.
Goals for MMA, man, is like always is just you know, I'm aiming to be UFC world champ. That's like, I feel like if you're in this sport, especially at a high level, it can be dangerous to be just casually, you know, kind of dipping your toes in. I feel like if you're doing this, you need to be doing it to the best of your ability at all time. You know, this is way too dangerous, and uh it just takes too much. You know, it takes too much to compete in the sport at a high level, not to be giving it everything you got. So as of now, man, my goal is obviously striving to be UFC world champ. I kind of have a plan of like, I'm probably 4 years away or something, is where I'm kind of hoping. 32, I think, is going to be like the beginning of my real run. So give me a couple more years to keep honing my skills. Got a ton more to learn and improve on, of course. And I think by then, though, I'll be really hitting my stride and reaching my mental and physical peak. And but other than that, I think that it would be really nice to get another fight, maybe August or September. And then hopefully that would put me up getting like one more fight this year, get 3 fights this calendar year. I haven't been able to do that since I've been in the UFC. And then if I can, if I get 2 more fights by the end of this year, hopefully assuming I win both of them, that will put me on a 5-fight win streak going into 2026 on a 5-fight win streak. I think I'll be knocking on the door of top 15 soon. And, and just getting step by step closer and closer to climbing the ranks to fighting for the belt.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's a pretty good game plan for sure when it comes to your career. Now, you're mentioning the belt. I mean, the belt is going to be defended pretty soon with Charles Oliveira and Topuria. I mean, talk to us a little bit more about your prediction with that matchup.
Dude, I got no prediction. I think that fight's too closely competitive. I'm super, super excited just as a fan. But from an analytical standpoint, I really think that I'm really excited to see if Charles gets to test Ilia's grappling. I think that Ilia has proven himself really well with the few times that he has been on the ground. But also to see the size difference with Ilia going up to 55. I think there will definitely be a pretty significant size difference, especially because Charles is not a small 55er. I don't think almost anybody in the top 15 at almost probably any weight class, they're probably all big for whatever weight class it is. So I'm interested to see if the front kicks, the teeps, the knees up the middle are any bit of a danger for Ilia Topuria, because he keeps kind of a more low crouch stance that's going to kind of play into Charles's favor in that particular situation, being able to utilize the front kicks and the knees up the middle. But truthfully, I think Ilia is one of the most well thought out, technically superior fighters in all of the UFC. There's a reason that he's what is Ilia on the pound for pound list? Is he 4?
I think so.
4?
Yeah, he's definitely top 5.
But there's a reason he's there, and I look at the game a lot now. Like, there's really specific algorithms. Like, of course, everybody has their own style, and styles make matchups and stuff, and people do different things different ways. But for the most part, I really think there's like a higher percentage move in each position, of like the most favorable combination to do from this particular angle would be this, and then the most favorable takedown from this exact situation or position would be this. And I think Ilia has those algorithms figured out really, really well. And that's why if you watch a lot of his fights, he does a lot of the same. He runs a couple combinations, over and over and over again. He's finding his way in with the jab. He'll slip outside the lead hand to be just clearing that your lead side. So now he's outside your lead hand. He'll a lot of times he'll dig his way into the body with a right hook and a left hook, and then find his right hand over the top, similar to what he did with Volk. And I think that's probably going to be a really big, that I think that the challenge on the feet is going to be if Charles can beat Ilia up the middle, keeping him away with the long teeps and the knees when he gets in close, or if Ilia can successfully close the distance, kind of climb his way up, in probably starting at the body, climbing his way up all the way to Charles's head. I think that's what the battle is going to be, is who can be successful in that area on the feet. But as far as on the ground, I have no prediction. I don't think I've gotten to see enough of Ilia's ground game to see if he's got enough to be able to shut down Charles's offense off of his back, and honestly, just to see if Charles gets on top. It'd be interesting to see if Charles is the one getting the takedowns, because I feel like most of the time it's not. I think Charles either hurts people on the feet and they start trying to take him down, or Charles gets hurt on the feet and then he gets taken down, ends up just going to his back to pull guard. But for the most part, I feel like we see Charles on bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we definitely do. And when it comes to your prediction, I mean, that was pretty in depth. I mean, how much film do you kind of watch on your opponents, and just kind of in general when it comes to MMA?
Yeah, I mean, I try to be a student of the game. I'm just constantly trying to learn about anything and everything all the time, because I think that my favorite quote ever is, the essence of wisdom is to see the connectedness in all things, so basically just how any one thing in life can directly translate and relate to any other thing, so it's just a matter of your knowledge and wisdom to be able to interconnect the two different things. So I try to study and learn about anything and everything that I can, but ultimately just to try to make me a better fighter. But I try to watch as much tape as I can, man. And again, it's I think especially at a high level, starting to see there's a lot of algorithms. Is just the way I like to look at it. Is like there's set moves to do in certain situations. I look at it almost like if you don't do the right algorithm, you're kind of making an error, and against a higher level opponent, they're going to make you pay for that error. And, there's plenty of times you can get away with doing stuff incorrect or whatever. Everybody can, do whatever their own way. But I think at the highest level, you see a lot of the same patterns repeated over and over and over again, depending on the situation. And it's a huge advantage to deeply study, especially the highest level fighters in the world, to see these algorithms and patterns that, I guess I should probably substitute the word algorithm for pattern. I think that's probably much more easy to understand, or just a better word for what I'm trying to explain. But once you understand that, can see these patterns, they're very repeatable, and you can start trying to implement them in your game. So I try to pay attention to the patterns of the most successful high level fighters that I can, and it seems like there's a lot of similarities across the board, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to like finding out these patterns, I mean, obviously, Gage was coming in on short notice. Were you able to kind of pick up on any patterns on his film?
Honestly, I didn't even really try to that much because I was so close. I was like, I don't want to try to make many adjustments. Fortunately, Hassan Zada, Hassan Zada's game plan was going to be a little bit funny just because a lot of fights he switches, and he doesn't really switch too much during the fight. He will kind of pick a stance that he will choose to fight the whole fight in. Some fights he'll come out and fight southpaw almost the whole time, or some fights he'll come out and fight orthodox the whole time. And then sometimes he does switch throughout the fight a little bit, but from what I saw, at least, is he generally liked to stick to whatever stance he started the fight in. So I wasn't sure if he was going to try to fight me southpaw or orthodox. So I was kind of game planning for both. And again, I think that just the algorithms are kind of the same. If I'm fighting an open stance or if I'm fighting a closed stance, so for both orthodox and orthodox, or if I'm orthodox and he's southpaw, the game plan is going to be pretty similar for both. As far as the offense side, what I'm trying to do, I know what tools, what weapons are going to be more successful for me, depending on that person's stance and the angles I'm trying to get to implement those weapons and stuff. So, but as far as with Gage, I was kind of running a pretty generic game plan for just a close stance fighter. So, us both being in orthodox stances. So I didn't really try to make too many adjustments because I feel like I would have done more harm than good trying to be like, oh, I see that he really does this, and trying to make adjustments to the stuff that I've been doing for the last 2 months, as opposed to just trying to figure out something or adding something new or taking something away in the last week. I don't think it's the right time to kind of be changing stuff up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, fair enough. That definitely makes sense. You don't want to kind of get in your own head when it comes to that. Now, when you're obviously a beast and whatnot in the cage, but what do you kind of like to do outside the cage when you're not in there training and fighting?
Honestly, dude, I'm pretty boring. I'm mostly just trying to better myself, in any way that I can. Listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks, read books, watching fights, meal prepping. I'm usually always doing something that's kind of pertaining towards fighting or getting better. But other than that, I have definitely started watching a little bit more TV later in the evening just to kind of wind down and stuff. So just trying to make it through some good movies and TV shows and stuff like that. You got anything you've been watching lately?
Me, man, I'm a big YouTube guy. I just like watching like I don't know, like sports style stuff, like whether it's like documentaries and whatnot. That's kind of my
Yeah.
go-to stuff on YouTube.
I'm the same way. I'm like, even whenever I'm like trying to watch, if I'm going to watch something entertaining, I'm going to watch something kind of educational, informational, like watching sports documentaries or documentaries of any sort. But other than that, man, I really just don't do too much. I'm in the gym. I mean, a general walkthrough of my day is I'll wake up, I'll eat breakfast and do some breathing exercises and stuff like that. And then get to the gym early to warm up. train, cool down after training, come home, eat, take a quick nap, and then get back up and repeat that first, cycle again. And then come home, eat, and get ready for bed pretty much. So pretty, I love the quote that, to be successful, you have to master the monotony. You have to get used to just doing the same boring things over and over and over again, because that's what's going to eventually lead to success.
Yeah, no, I definitely would agree with that for sure. Now, you mentioned in the morning you're doing like some breathing exercises. What does that kind of do? What's that kind of partake?
I mean, the breathing exercises I'm doing right now are actually kind of, I don't know if I should say like corrective exercises, but just kind of like postural restoration. I'm kind of like thinking of pulling my pelvis up, elongating my spine, and getting good deep diaphragmatic breathing, opening up my rib cage and stuff like that. And for one, just to get some blood flowing, get some good deep breaths after first waking up, kind of getting woke up in the morning. Yeah, but for the most part, I've done a lot of like Wim Hof type breathing, all I'm doing basically is just kind of stimulating my nervous system, getting woke up, kind of getting myself primed, ready to have a good day.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's definitely interesting for sure, man, because I haven't heard any fighters really bring that up during interviews. So I definitely think that's interesting thing that you like to do. Now, one thing about me is I'm a Taekwondo instructor, like I mentioned for the interview. So I've been teaching for about 6 years now, and I got a bunch of guys in my gym. What advice would you give to them to keep on coming into the gym to get better and better every class?
For just an average student, or like somebody
Yeah,
aspiring
just average student.
average student. I mean, dude, with anything, consistency is going to be key. It's like avoiding injury is going to be huge, because that ruins consistency. It's like, it's really hard to be consistent when your body's broken, so dude, I think it's a lot more in depth. I was thinking of just like, well, if you're going to avoid injury, you need to make sure you're getting plenty of good sleep, you're eating the right food, you're doing good warm-ups. There's a lot that goes into it, so, but yeah, for the most part, man, just be consistent. Just freaking find a way. I would say one of the best things is to start to understand your mind, because your mind is always going to try to trick you into comfortability. Your body wants to stay comfortable. Its only job is to survive. It's not trying to thrive. It's trying to just pass through existence with as little adversity as possible. So going to the gym, especially to do martial arts, is not on the list of comfortability. You got to get outside of your comfort zone to do that. So there's a lot of times your mind is going to try to feed you excuses to skip the gym, and you have to have answers and reasons for why that making yourself go is going to be more important and more valuable than sitting at home and not going. That's really going to help with the consistency. So find ways to convince yourself just to go show up, because that's being consistent is the most important thing. So show up, be consistent, and you're going to figure the other things out as you go, if you're trying to truly learn.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's a solid message for sure, man, when it comes to martial arts in general. And Evan, it's been awesome talking to you. I really appreciate you coming on the show. I mean, what's maybe your final message out there for the fans watching this video?
Oh man, just for one, thank you for having me on. For two, and to the fans, thank you for all the love and support, and can't wait to get back in there and put on another performance. And for three, man, just praise God. I just thankful for the life that I get to live, man. I'm very grateful to get to do and pursue my dreams, and can't wait to make some cool stuff happen.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to seeing you watch some cool stuff happen. And I appreciate you coming on the show, man. It means a lot. And we're looking forward to hopefully seeing you return in August or September.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate you, Kev.